Hello guys, it's Darksigner here from the German Duel Masters channel and welcome back to another Duel video. Today I got the finals of our first IDC tournament for you guys, which we held back in the end of September on OCTGN. On the top of your screen you can see Experiment, a player from Singapore, and at the bottom of the screen it's Solomon from Romania, so we have an international finals for our first tournament. And both players are on a mana burn strategy. While Solomon is playing 5 colors, Experiment is sticking to nature, fire and light. So let's see if that's an advantage or disadvantage here. It's quite a hefty control mirror match, so we have to look at this replay a bit sped up, so nearly double the speed, because otherwise this would be an hour-long video and I don't want to take you through that long. So let's see who can take this first finals, and I hope you guys enjoy the content so far. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave a comment down below, and we will keep you updated. In the next few days we will upload some of our matches from the second IDC tournament, so you don't want to miss that. And let's get right into this match. So Experiment is down in hand advantage. He plays Belix here to get a soul swap back. Solomon has the advantage of playing dark, so he's able to discard his opponent. But yeah, he has to unlock all colors if he wants to use everything, because he's on Fire 2, which you don't see at the moment. He's also playing quite a thick deck. I think he's at 54 or 55 cards, so it's not always easy to see every color in your deck. And he's playing Miraculous Plague first, so he uses the mana burn cards first. That's also quite a big advantage. An Experiment swapping out the Mystrias, that might lead to a comeback. Leaving that Mystrias up for too long is very dangerous, but Solomon has another Miraculous Plague for that one. So yeah, this game looks quite wrapped up already at the beginning, because Experiment is down to 3 mana now, but Solomon needs some kind of follow-up to get some hand advantage back and stick creatures on board which can attack. Or maybe he needs some follow-up like Fortress Shell to keep Experiment down in mana. But he's playing quite many charges. He has Bronze Arm Tribe, Fairy Life, Volcano Charger, and also Sky Sword, which we will see later. So Experiment can ramp up his mana very quick, so the deck is actually pretty good against other mana burn strategies, and that's always a nice play, playing Rebirth on your opponent's Mystrias and getting your own out. That's quite a nice move here. So he's right back into the game after he got Miraculous Plague twice. That's quite impressive to come back from that. And finally some draw power from Solomon. Maybe he can take advantage of that. And yeah, here you see the first Sky Sword. Pretty nice as well. The Mystrias sticks on the board, so he can take full advantage of that. Maybe he sticks the second one on board. Yeah, that's what he does. I think that's the right move. Now bearing any Miraculous Plague. Okay, right, as I was about to say, if he doesn't have Miraculous Plague, that's so much advantage. It's going to snowball very quickly, but of course he has another Miraculous Plague for the 2 Mystrias. But yeah, mana doesn't seem to be a problem for Experiment. He has all the chargers in hand. Unfortunately, he hit a multi-Civ mana from the top of his deck, so his plan was to play Bronzam Tribe and then to play Mistrias out of his hand. That plan got screwed up by the multi-Civ mana. But I don't think the game is over yet. I think it's still wide open. Solomon burning more mana, but Experiment always seems to have a comeback here. Bazagazil is a nice answer, but there aren't any real threats on board for Solomon here. Down comes another Fortress Shell. So I think Experiment's deck has the advantage that it can ramp up very quickly after it got mana burned, or ramp up to a point where mana burn isn't really posing a threat. That's his advantage. I think his disadvantage is that he doesn't play Dark for discard, so while Solomon can discard his hand, he can't do the same, so Solomon can just draw as many cards as he wants to, and then be able to use all his options. The Faliga is a nice recovery card, so using the Rebirth in the Manaburn mirror match, it's also nice because you can hit Fortress Shell and get out your own Fortress Shell because it only has 5k mana, 5k power. So that's quite a good play. And yeah, soul swapping Fortress Shell in and out to get rid of the other colors, trying to get him down to only green mana. But now there's the answer for that. So there's no Fortress Shell in play anymore for Solomon, and now there's a slight misplay here. He wants to play Bliss Totem, but it doesn't check power. Rebirth checks for mana cost, so you have to play something with 9 mana. So it has to be specifically Fortress Shell. I don't think you run any other 9 mana creatures in this deck. So yeah, that misplay was corrected immediately, so no worries, both players can just go on. And yeah, as I told you at the beginning of the game, it's really grindy. Experiment was at one point at only 2 mana, and he fought his way back multiple times in this game. Both players played 2 Sky Swords, so the shields are stacked up as well, so it's not that easy to go through all those shields. And now Solomon has the advantage of his own Mistrias on board, but that one doesn't live too long because the Belix got the Volcano Charger back, and that's the out for Mistrias. And yeah, Mistrias is really posing a big threat here, but it's also the card with the biggest target on its head in the game, in my opinion. And another slight misplay occurs. He played Belix but didn't have any light mana, so he wasn't able to do that play either. Yeah, we're just correcting the game state. Because Solomon drew a card of Mistrias and he didn't put it back because Yeah, the Belix wasn't played, but I think the all stuff got cleared up here. I think he's at the right hand side. Now he snowballs an advantage with the Mistrias that got if you get one turn more out of it, it's always nice to see. That's the power of Mistrias. He got the Miraculous Plague back, so now he's starting to burn mana again. But this one could hurt a bit. He goes for the fire mana, but if Experiment draws into another fire card, he can charge it and get rid of the Mistrias. So I think it's still the right decision to go after the fire mana, because you want to leave your opponent with only one color, but there's a risk that he draws into another fire card, and then he can get rid of Mistrias. Okay, unfortunately he drew into a fire card, but a multi-civ one, the Reap and Sow. That's normally a good card, but he really wanted a mono fire card, so he could play that Volcano Charger. Now Solomon can snowball even more with that Mistrias. And yeah, Faliga getting likely the Miraculous Plague back again, and yeah, and drawing cards of Mistrias. So his hand is stacked, and that's what I commented earlier, that Experiment doesn't play dark, and you really can't deal with the opponent's hand. So Solomon has all the options, and that now at this point it really seems like he has it. The first time I said he has it with 2 mana, Experiment fought back really well, but at this point I think it's just a matter of time. If he wants to attack, he can go for it, but he can also just play it out and control Experiment's board and just wait for him to deck out, because I know for a fact that Experiment is lower in deck size at this moment. I think he's at 5 or 6 cards, if I remember correctly. So yeah, okay, at 4 cards. I just checked it here. Yeah, he can just wait 3 turns and then wins the game. But I think he's going in because he doesn't want to win by deck out, because it's not the prettiest kind of a win. It's not really what you want to do, but sometimes you have to, because it's just the right play, and it's a finals game, so I wouldn't be mad if my opponent was trying to deck me out for a win here at this stage of the tournament. But he still decides to go in. I think he doesn't have too much to lose, because he has all the field advantage, and I think there's no combination of sheet triggers that can really turn this thing around. Yeah, clearing all his shields, and that's the game for sure. With 6 mana, he can play Blizzard of Spears, but that won't get rid of Fortress Shell, and then he can just attack for game. And he plays the Lucky Totem. And yeah, that's GG, that's the first game. So Solomon taking the 1-0 lead after being well positioned multiple times in this match, but I think it was a really good fight from Experiment. So let's see if he can turn things around here in game 2. So yeah, at the beginning of the game, in control matches, both players are just charging mana. And yeah, the Bronze Arm Tribe, the first card being played, that accelerates the mana. There's no Lost Soul Race to win in this matchup, as he doesn't play Dark, but still it's always nice to see if you can get a bit more mana out early on, so you don't get burned to death by the opponent's mana burn. And yeah, Corpse Charger being played only to charge mana. So maybe Solomon tries to ramp up to that 7 mana threshold to Lost Soul his opponent. I was a bit afraid what's going to come here with 7 mana, because APOC doesn't do anything against the cleared board, and he doesn't have Dark. But there was the Balmidi Steel Dragon, but not for too long. Yeah, if the opponent plays Balmidis, I think there's always a pit for a volley. That's what I was typing in chat as well. That's saying we have in our German community, you always top deck the Tarot Pit against Balmidis. So experiment thinking here about his next move. As he doesn't play Dark, there's also sadly no Grave Recycle for that Balmidi Steel Dragon, and I don't know how many of those he's playing. But of course that's not the only win condition he has. But sticking a Mystrias on board would be pretty good if there's no answer for it. But if I remember correctly, Solomon searched a Miraculous Plague back to hand. So there's already an answer there. Let's see if he fires that one this turn. Okay, no, he's just playing Bronze Arm Tribe and then follow it up with a Sky Sword. So charging 2 mana. Next turn there could be a possible Fortress Shell play. Yeah, the Reap and Sow is nice, but if Solomon charges mana, he can still play the Fortress Shell. But both players really used nearly all their resources, so maybe it's coming down to a top decking war at this point. Yeah, Soul Soap for Fortress Shell, that's the play here. I would get rid of the light mana at this point. And yeah, that's what he does. So only 1 light mana left. If he can burn it next turn, I think that's really nice. But he charges another light mana and rightfully destroys the water mana from Solomon. So maybe that's screwing up here if he wants to draw cards but can't. And yeah, just a charge and pass from Solomon, not really what you want to see. But Bronze Arm Tribe being top decked is also not the greatest sight. Okay, so Bronze Arm Tribe top decked by both players. At this point of the game, not really that useful. At least Experiment got a 3rd light mana out of it, so Solomon can't burn all light mana in one turn. And I think this game is also wide open like the first game. No player has a clear advantage at this point. So I think it's a pretty interesting finals matchup. And the Soul Swap, yeah, that might be crucial here. I would go for either Mistrias or Baza Gazil at this point. Baza Gazil gets rid of the Juliana and maybe the Fortress Shell the next turns. But okay, he goes for Farliga. I don't know what he wants to search at this point. Maybe if he has a Rebirth in his graveyard. Okay, no, Reap and Sow. So I think he wants to get rid of the light or water mana again. Yeah, so the water mana. So if Solomon has an energy stream, that one is completely dead at this point. And of course he also killed the Miraculous Plague. But again, Experiment is down in cards and deck, so he has to attack at some point of the game if he wants to win it. And yeah, Farliga can recycle Plague, but for him to play it he has to have water mana as well. And yeah, let's see if he decides to take it back or maybe go for Soul Swap instead. Okay, goes for Terror Pit, maybe anticipating something like Mistrias or Bolmedius or Lucky Totem from Experiment. Okay, yeah, the Belix is really nice here, getting back the Miraculous Rebirth, so he can kill Farliga and go for Mistrias. Oh, okay, he goes for Fortress Shell for his own. That's also quite solid. Get rid of the fire and light mana, I think. So light mana and the fire, yeah. That's the correct play. So Solomon is down to 2 colors in his 5-color deck. Not a good sight for him. So as I talked about advantages and disadvantages earlier in this match, I think it becomes clear at this point that Solomon has the disadvantage of playing 5 colors. So it is an advantage that he has more options like discard with the Darkness Sieve, but it's also a disadvantage in this matchup because Experiment can just pick out the single mana of one color, and Solomon's plays become dead really quick. So it's hard to maintain all 5 colors in the mana zone if you're playing against a mana burn deck. And oh, that Lucky Totem, that's yeah, that's not quite Mistrias, but it's Mistrias-like. So yeah, you have to destroy that immediately. Otherwise, it really goes out of control. Chamilia is pretty nice. I don't think it's in the same sphere as Lucky Totem. I think that one isn't that dangerous. But Lucky Totem, if that one can stick for a few turns, the mana advantage is too high. It's like playing a mana bonanza, that sort of thing, but you don't thin your deck. And yeah, Chamilia, the first search, it's pretty nice, but I think it only gets really good if you can redo that multiple turns in a row. Searching the Belix is really nice. Can go for a field wipe with APOC, or maybe get back the Logic Cube to search other spells like Soul Swap or Reap and Sow out of his deck. So Solomon is tapping 7 mana, but doesn't know yet what he wants to do. Plays Miraculous Plague to get rid of the Charmelia. And I think at this point you target Bronze Arm Tribe as well. You don't want to give your opponent Faliga or Belix or the Fortress Shareback. All those 4 cards are just too good to give the opponent. And yeah, he targeted 3 cards. I think he wanted, the 2 Fairy Lives. Because again, you don't want to give your opponent Faliga. And yeah, at this point, Experiment has all the hand advantage. I think his strategy is pretty good in this game, just picking out the single mana colors of Solomon and sabotaging plays that way. I think he's in the advantageous position now, and he got back the APOC with the Belix and got rid of multiple cards from the field, and now he starts swinging because as I said earlier, he has less cards in deck, so he has to swing 4 shields at some point, and decides to do so now. But unfortunately hits Aqua Surfer in the first shield. That's quite unlucky, but decides not to bounce anything with Aqua Hulkers because again, all cards give too much advantage, like Faliga and Belix are just too good of come into play effects to give your opponent back. And yeah, let's see if Solomon can fight back and just prevent Experiment from going in. Because I think at this point you're just on the defensive side and just try to react as much as possible and get rid of the board. So he plays Mistrias to make a comeback in card advantage, but I think Experiment has the answer right away. Searing Wave is a perfect answer that kills the whole board. Wow, that's a power play. I think that seals the game here. And following it up with Charmelia again, so that one got bounced by the Miraculous Plague. And yeah, next turn he can go for game if Solomon doesn't get rid of any attackers or play any blockers. So it's looking really good for Experiment right now. Solomon thinking about a way to come out of this pressure situation here. So he plays Belix, I think, and then can follow it up with a Miraculous Plague. But I don't know if that's really helping him here. I think it just delays the inevitable end here. He can live for another turn, but yeah, Experiment getting advantage out of this play, getting the Faliga back to hand so he can recycle Rebirth, APOC, Searing Wave, basically anything he wants. So Experiment is on 7 cards, and if he draws for turn, he already drew for turn, so he's at 7 cards left in the deck, so it's still 6 turns for him to finish the game, and I think that's a very good position to be in. And get soul swap, so now he can swap the Bazagazilin, swap a Belix into the mana zone, swap the Bazagazilin, and then kill the Belix, and then go in for 1 shield. And next turn that Bazagazil can come out as well, so he has 3 attackers. That's not really looking good for Solomon. As I said, I think this game is pretty much over at this point, and I think Solomon can pretty much just scoop it up here and go to game 3. Trying to think of a way to get out of the situation, but I think there is really no way. He can maybe lost soul him here, so he has no options left and has to top deck, and maybe top decks something that isn't useful, but then he has to rely on his last shield to be a shield trigger. So anyways, he's in a pretty bad position. Plays Cranium Clamp, but of course Experiment isn't going to discard Bazagazil. Tries to snipe it with Locomotive and unfortunately doesn't hit it with the 50-50 chance. And okay, so he doesn't even play it. Oh, he drew another one, so okay, that top deck would have been Bazagazil, so yeah, there was no way out of that. That was quite an impressive showing from Experiment deck here. And yeah, I'm hoping the third game will be as exciting as the first two. So let's see who can take the first IDC title here. So first few turns, again, just both players charging up their mana. Solomon trying to get all the colors into his mana zone. And nice, that's a rare sight. Playing Belix in a control deck without any spells in the mana zone, just as a jump blocker. I don't know if that's the right play here, because I don't think Solomon's going to rush him, so maybe I would just have kept that Belix in hand to recycle something later on, or maybe charge it into mana. I don't think you have to stick it on board, it just sits there until anything happens on Solomon's board. And yeah, he had to discard Fortress Shell and Bolmedius of that Cranium Clamp. Okay, I see. Maybe that's why he played Belix, because he really wanted to swap out the Sky Sword early, so he has access to 6 and 7 mana cards earlier than Solomon. But he answers it right away with his own Sky Sword, so he's right back on track with his mana. And oh, that's a nice card to hold. I thought that it might be a Rebirth, and that's exactly it. I think you go for Mystrias here and hope Solomon doesn't have an out, so it can snowball really well. Or you go for Faliga and just recycle the Rebirth again, and then you have a removal for next turn again. And yeah, but he goes for the first route I propose, so sticking the Mystrias is pretty good, but yeah, that's going to eat a Terror Pit right away. Nothing special here. Mystery is something you have to answer immediately, and Fairy Life top deck, that's not good. Fairy Life being one of the worst top decks in the game. And Solomon has his own Mystrias, and Experiment has to give him some advantage here, but that Bliss Totem can come in really clutch. I think Solomon has to charge mana here. I don't know why he's tapping already and not getting something into his mana zone. Because next turn Experiment is going to get 3 free mana off of that lucky totem, and now Solomon finally charges the mana before doing any further moves. Oh, and getting screwed by the multi-sift, that hurts. Maybe he had another 3-play like Bronze Arm Tribe to follow it up and draw a card with Mystrias. Yeah, that Searing Wave, not too impactful here, but I mean too impactful that it doesn't hit multiple creatures, but of course you're taking that trade for Mystrias because Mystrias is such a threat. You're happily trading a shield to kill that one. So Solomon still has the card advantage here, but Experiment has to top deck something like Mystrias, and then the game's wide open, in my opinion. Yeah, that Lost Soul can easily go into the mana zone. No point of keeping that one at this point of the game. And through Beardix he finds a natural snare, and that's an out to Bliss Totem. So that was needed, giving him 1 more mana, okay, but next turn he could have gotten 3 of that, so that's also a good trade you want to make. And a top deck Faliga, that's nice. Now he can retrieve maybe Rebirth or Soul Swap. Yeah, he gets Soul Swap. Let's see if he decides to go aggressive and put Bolmedius down here, or just trying to clear the field with Bazaar Ghazil, or yeah, the third option being to burn mana with Fortress Shell. Getting rid of light and nature entirely, that's really nice. So 2 colors completely gone. Maybe next turn he can, if he can top deck another Faliga or Soul Swap, he can do the same again and get rid of the fire mana as well. Top decks a Reap and Sow, that's also pretty nice. So nature mana is gone again. And with only 6 mana, Solomon doesn't have too many options to play with. And also his resources are kind of gone. Only 1 card left. He plays a Terror Pit, killing the Fortress Shell, so it doesn't get swapped back in and out, but I don't think that Terror Pit was too impactful because Experiment still has 1 Fortress Shell in mana for Soul Swap shenanigans. So I think it wasn't the best play to Terror Pit at this point. The Miraculous Plague is pretty nice, but of course it gives Experiment the advantage to play Charmelia or Faliga again. I think I would go with Faliga back to my hand because it provides immediate advantage, and you can take back Soul Swap and start burning Solomon's mana again with your Fortress Shell. So I think the Plague didn't really do that well at this point, because that just The only thing it did was enabling Experiment to burn 2 of your own mana. That's really unfortunate. Maybe I would have hold on to that. So okay, even better, he hardcasts Fortress Shell and still has Faliga for next turn to Fortress Shell again. Yeah, I think holding the Plague would have been the better play, because Experiment isn't playing any discard, so you don't have to fear any of your cards in hand, of losing any cards in your hand. So you can afford to hold some cards. And yeah, that's what I was talking about. You can just retrieve Soul Swap and then play another Fortress Shell. Getting rid of Light and Fire, I guess. Yeah, but Experiment, again, like in every game, he's behind in cards in deck, but he's in such a favorable position. I think he can afford to start attacking with the 2 Fortress Shells now. Reap and Sow getting rid of the Sky Sword, so it's keeping him really down, but Experiment still doesn't feel like attacking is the right move. Wants to play the control game for a bit longer. And yeah, now finally he decides to go in. I think he can pick 2 shields at a time, no problem. Solomon's going to take them to get some advantage back. Discarded a Volcano Charger, but that didn't really do anything either way. So Locomotive also isn't the greatest counter attacker here, because it only has 1k power, and the creatures on Experiment's board are so much stronger. And yeah, now he's going into beatdown mode. And I think that's the right move, because next turn the worst thing that can happen is a Miraculous Plague to remove 2 creatures. And even then he's going to get creatures back that are really impactful if you play them out. So I think he has nothing to fear at this point. And this might be a Soul Swap or another shield trigger. Yeah, Soul Swap, because if you think about something for that long while looking at your shield, it is basically always a Soul Swap. Getting rid of the Mystrias, but I don't think that changes anything. Experiment didn't really want to draw too many cards, because he's only at 10 cards left in deck, so only 9 turns left to finish the game, but only 9 turns is quite optimistic. I think in the next 2 to 3 turns he is able to finish the game. Yeah, I think he played it out really well. He has all the mana advantage, and is even on field and hand advantage while being ahead on shields as well. So he has all the advantage in the world. I think if he doesn't make a major misplay here, he takes this game. Plays Reap and Sow to get rid of the fire mana, I guess. Yeah, the same strategy as in game 2, just picking the only color in your opponent's mana zone. That's being quite effective. And at some point Solomon has to block one of these attacks, but he takes all the shields. Another Locomotive, which doesn't do anything. So yeah, I think that's GG. Next turn Experiment has to just attack, and there's no way for Solomon to out this board, as Fortress Shells have 5k power. Even the Blizzard of Spears can't help him at this point. Yeah, Halfa typing in the chat, Meltdown. Miraculous Meltdown is the only way I see Solomon winning this game, but I don't know if he's on Meltdown or not. And even then, if Meltdown hits a shield trigger or 2, that could be enough for Experiment to win anyway. But yeah, no fire in mana, so yeah, that seals the game. Experiment has just to attack for game here, and Solomon concedes. So congrats to Experiment for winning our first IDC tournament. He played it out really well, and yeah, definitely a deserved winner. And I hope you guys enjoyed this a bit longer match. I hope you guys could stick with me through the whole thing, and I hope I see you guys at another duel video.